Tell me about your parents, like what they did for a job and how they were at being parents.
My dad was a welder, followed pipelines, and also had a welding shop at our house. My mother was a homemaker, gardener, took care of the house. We lived out on a farm, so there was lots of canning, and we also had a dairy, and we milked cows night and morning by hand most of the time. But toward the end, before I left to go to college, we got milkers, and it was a wonderful thing.
Who has the biggest influence on your life?
I would have to say this grandmother that I was talking about is the biggest influence. Her name was Effie Laura Moore, and she was a very quiet, very religious lady, and she was very, very knowledgeable in sewing. She made most of the clothes I wore up until I got old enough to learn to make my own clothes. Back when I was a child, there was no television in the home. She made sure that there was some kind of handwork, embroidery, quilting, something to do with needle and thread in my hands at night to keep me busy. And I would say she was probably the most influential person.
What kind of technology did you have when you were a child?
Oh, I had the radio. I had television, but it was black and white in a round tube in the TV. At that time, we lived in this very, very, very small community. It was a very close-knit community. We were the first ones in the whole community to get a TV. And we turned it around and showed it out the window. And everyone brought blankets and laid on the lawn to watch TV.
So you were like the movie theater.
We were the drive-in movie theater.
What did you do for a job?
My first job was at Dairy Queen. I loved chocolate malts, and I was so happy when anyone would come in and ask for a chocolate malt, because in the very, very bottom there was just a little tiny bit left in the mixer, and that the cup wouldn't hold. So that was mine. After a while, I did like chocolate
got
malts
tired of ice cream
more.
Did you always want to do that job?
Not necessarily. Since I had so much influence with needle and thread, I'd much rather be sewing or quilting or making garments or something like that rather than. But I needed the money, and it was good money. It was much better than working in the fields, because you only got 50 cents a day for working in the fields.